As we've looked at the big picture in our last few videos, we've talked about the important principles and commitments of trauma-informed ministry, how we want to be churches that respond to people with safety, trust, compassion, and support. Today, I want to take one of those principles and bring it down to something very practical, something you can begin strengthening this week: clarity in communication. When we talk about principles like safety or trustworthiness, those principles are lived out in everyday practices, and how we communicate will determine whether people experience us and our church as safe and trustworthy. I want to say this up front. For many trauma survivors, the absence of clarity is not a small thing. It's not just a communication style or a preference. It can be deeply unsettling. When someone has lived through trauma, especially trauma where power was misused, where information was withheld, or where trust was violated, unclear communication can feel threatening. Silence can feel like secrecy. A lack of explanation can feel like control. And that's not someone being too sensitive. That's the nervous system doing exactly what it learned to do to stay safe, what God designed it to do. So clarity isn't just about being organized or efficient or even professional. Clarity is a form of care. Clarity is one of the ways we communicate safety and belonging. Clarity is part of how we love people well. And this kind of clarity is biblical. Scripture teaches us to speak in ways that others can understand, 1 Corinthians 14:9. To speak truthfully, Ephesians 4:25. To speak with timing and care, Proverbs 15:23. To speak in love, Ephesians 4:15. Clarity isn't just a communication technique. Clarity is an expression of our love for one another. Now, let's be honest. Churches are often not great at communication. We use insider language. We assume people know things we've never actually said out loud. We communicate what we think is important, but we forget to communicate what others need in order to feel safe and included. And sometimes we confuse confidentiality with secrecy, and those are not the same thing. So what I want to do today is to walk through 4 very practical areas where clarity matters and where we can build a healthier, safer culture, especially for those carrying trauma. And I'll say this too. If you're watching and I was ever your pastor, you can probably think of times where I didn't get this right. These communication missteps are common, but they're also avoidable. And when we pay attention to them, it strengthens trust, safety, and belonging in the church. Number 1, clarity in event details. Now this one's simple, but often overlooked. Churches tend to use insider language in our announcements. We assume people already understand our schedule, our building, our traditions, and our relationships. But someone who is new, or someone whose brain is already working overtime just to feel safe in a space, may not have any of that context. So when you communicate something happening in your church, ask the basic questions. Who is this for? What will happen there? When exactly is it? Where do I go? Where are we doing it? How do I participate? These are the questions people are asking. So here's an example of unclear communication. Hey everyone, remember this weekend, the Ladies' Fellowship, Saturday at 10. See Sarah if you have any questions. Now, if you're new, you might be thinking, what exactly is a Ladies' Fellowship? Is it a casual coffee, a study, a ministry meeting? I'm not sure. Who can come? Can I invite a friend? Can I bring my children? Where is it happening? Is that here at the church? Is it in the fellowship hall? Is it somewhere else? Why are we doing this? Is it for fun? Is it encouragement? Is it an outreach? Is it a Bible study? How do I participate? Do I need to sign up? Do I need to bring anything? And who is Sarah and how would I find her? An unclear announcement unintentionally communicates, if you don't already know this church, this isn't for you. Now, here's a trauma-informed, clear version of the announcement. Ladies' Fellowship, this Saturday at 10 a.m. All adult women are welcome, and you're welcome to invite a friend. You'll meet in the fellowship hall for coffee, light refreshments, a short devotion, and a time for conversation and encouragement. Now, there's no need to sign up or bring anything. We're not able to offer childcare for this gathering, so we encourage you to make any needed arrangements ahead of time. Now, if you have any questions or you'd like to help with setup or refreshments, talk with Sarah Johnson. Her contact information is in the bulletin. Do you hear the difference? Clarity doesn't make things more complicated, it makes things more accessible. Clarity is hospitality. Clarity says, we want you here. Clarity helps someone feel like they belong. Here's a second area: clarity in decision making. When leadership makes decisions, people need to know why. If we don't explain our reasoning, people fill in the gaps, and the brain doesn't fill in the gaps with trust, it fills in gaps with fear. Now, we're not talking about airing private details. We're talking about simply explaining the process. What was the issue or concern? What is it that you considered? Who helped make the decision? And why this direction makes sense. So, for example, let's say you're updating your child safety policies. Instead of just announcing, we're updating our child safety policies and here they are, you need a longer explanation. Say something like, listen, every 3 years we review our child safety policies and procedures to make sure that they're clear, practical, and effective for our families and volunteers, while at the same time keeping our children safe. This year, we formed a team that included staff, volunteers, and parents, and we also consulted with a local social worker with expertise in child safety to ensure our policies reflect best practices. We met several times, and after those meetings and discussions, we're implementing updated procedures for check-in, classroom supervision, and reporting concerns. We're going to be providing training and resources so every volunteer and staff member knows the new procedures, and we'll make sure parents understand what to expect. Our goal here is to create safer, more understandable processes while supporting everyone who serves in our ministry. This example gives a lot more clarity and information. Even if people were to disagree with a decision, they can still feel safe when they understand the process. When we're clear about the why behind a decision, people don't need to speculate or fill in the gaps or wonder what's being hidden. Clarity builds trust. Secrecy, even accidental secrecy, damages it. Here's a third area: clarity in relationships and expectations. A lot of ministry harm happens when expectations for behavior and interactions aren't clear. Trauma survivors often work really hard to do it right, and when what's expected is vague or constantly shifting, it can trigger fear, shame, or exhaustion. This isn't about creating rigid rules. It's about being clear so people can participate without guessing or worrying. Expectations might come from leadership or from the group itself, or both, but the key is that they're communicated and understood. It's also about calling out the unwritten rules, those things everybody just knows but no one says. The goal is to help everyone feel confident about what's expected and feels free to engage. So here's an example for a Bible study group. Let's say you have a new person joining your group. You might say something like this at the beginning of the discussion. Hey, I just want you to know that in our discussions, we welcome anyone to share their thoughts. You're welcome to jump in at any time. And if someone shares an interpretation of the passage that isn't quite right, that's okay too. We're all just learning together, so we don't react harshly or shame anyone. We just respond gently and help everybody understand. We talk it through as a group and keep the conversation going. Even simple explanations like this help people know what's okay and what isn't. And for someone carrying trauma, the clarity reduces anxiety, prevents misunderstandings, and helps them engage without fear of doing something wrong. Clear expectations, including calling out the unwritten norms, protect the group and its members. Ambiguity can cause stress or anxiety, while clarity builds trust and helps everyone feel like they belong. Here's a fourth area: clarity in safety and reporting. Every church that says we're a safe place also needs to be able to say clearly, here's what you do if you feel unsafe. Here's who you can talk to. Here's what our response process looks like. If people don't know how to report harm, or if they don't believe the process will actually be followed, then the environment is not safe. A simple statement can go a long way. Every church's leadership structure is different, so the wording is going to look different in each context. But the key is that people know who to go to and that those people are trained and accountable to follow the reporting process. Here's an announcement as an example. If you ever experience harm or have concern about someone's behavior, including a leader, you can talk with a pastor, a deacon, or the children's ministry director. Every person named knows the reporting protocols and is accountable to follow them. What you share will be handled with care, and we protect privacy, but we don't hide concerns or ignore them. Now, make sure your policies have checks and balances so that power doesn't reside in one person or one group. And make those checks and balances clear to the congregation. And when you're talking about safety, don't just say it once, say it regularly. Communicate it periodically in church announcements. Print it in the bulletin or newsletter. Mention it as an aside in sermons. Make official policies and protocols easy to find and review. Clarity and safety in reporting is what makes safety real. It's not enough to say the church is safe. People need to know exactly how safety works, who's responsible, and what to do if something concerns them. Here are some closing thoughts. Clarity is not about control. Clarity is about care. When we speak clearly, explain our decisions, name expectations, and make safety visible, we create environments where people feel safe and cared for. Clarity in communication, whether it's in announcements or in decision making or group interactions or just communicating about safety policies, it's one of the most practical ways we can live out trauma-informed ministry. Now, if you want to go deeper, we've put together a full course called Basic Training in Trauma-Informed Ministry, along with a growing library of practical resources, tools, and guides for churches. You can explore all of these at our website on hopescompanion.org/links. Thanks for watching, and I hope this gives you some concrete steps you can use this week to help people find hope, healing, and community in Jesus.